Welcome back my kings and queens, and welcome to the second part of this Blender beginner guide. If you haven't seen the first part of the series, I would highly recommend to check this out, as we have created the island and the tree in the first episode, and in this, the second episode, we will go ahead and create the fence and the bench. And if you're interested in how to create this low poly forest house scene, then you can go ahead and check the series out with the first link in my description. But now let's go ahead and start right into the modeling of the scene right here. So let's first go ahead and model the fence. As the single parts of the fence have a quad based shape, we need to add in a new cube to the scene. To do this, go ahead and press Shift and A to open up the add menu, head over to mesh and go ahead and click on cube. And again, as we want to model the fence and we do not need the island and the tree for it now, with the cube selected, and you can see that the cube is selected by the orange outline, go ahead and press numpad / to only focus on the cube. Then we need to go into the edit mode of the cube, so we can go ahead and edit the geometry of the cube. So go ahead and press tab to go into the edit mode of the cube, and let's first go ahead and press S to scale the cube down all the way to a point around here. Then as the next step, let's go ahead and select this face right here and move it up to make the fence a little bit bigger. To do this, we first need to go into the face selection mode, and you can go into the face selection mode by pressing 3. Then go ahead and click on the upper face right here to first of all deselect all of the cube and only select the upper face right here. And now to move this face up, you of course will go ahead and press G to move the face and then press Z so that you're only able to move the face on the Z axis, and go ahead and move the face up to a point around here. So right now the top of the fence looks way too sharp, and an easy way to add in some smoothness to this face right here is to use the bevel function. With the upper face selected, you can go ahead and press Ctrl and B to enable the bevel function, and then just go ahead and move your mouse to the right side to add in a bevel to the face right here, and go ahead and move your mouse to the right side to a point around here so that the bevel has this size right here, and then press left click to apply the bevel. And like this part of the fence does already look way better. So now of course we need to copy and paste this part of the fence also to the right side, so let's go ahead and press A to select all, and you can copy and paste things by duplicating it, and you can duplicate things by pressing Shift and D. And now you can see that we have another part of this fence part right here. And let's first go ahead and press right click so that the new created part is at the exact same place as the first part that we have modeled. And then from it here only the second part is selected, so we can go ahead and press G and then Y to move the second part only on the Y axis. And let's go ahead and move it to a point around here, so go ahead and press left click to apply the move. Alright, then from right here, let's go ahead and first add in a material to this part of the fence. So go ahead and head over into the materials tab by clicking on this red sphere at the right side right here. And let's go ahead and create a new material and rename this material to fence. And let's go ahead and change the base color first to an orange tone like this. And then let's go ahead and move down the brightness all the way to a point around here. Then let's go ahead and press Alt and A to deselect all, so we can go ahead and start modeling the missing part of the fence. As this part right here again has a quad based shape, let's go ahead and add in a new cube to the scene. So go ahead and press Shift and A again, and as we're in the edit mode with this, we will go ahead and open up the mesh menu and go ahead and click on cube to add in a new cube to the scene. From it here, go ahead and straight up scale down the cube all the way to a point around here, so that the size of the cube has approximately the size on the Z axis that we want to have, but we can also go ahead and adjust it later on. So for now let's go ahead and move the cube up, so let's go ahead and press G and then Z, and with this we can only move the cube up on the Z axis and go ahead and move it up to a point around here. And I guess we have to scale down the cube even more, so go ahead and press S again and scale it down to a point around here. Then go ahead and press G and Z again to move this up a little bit more to a point around here. Then of course we also need to scale down the cube on the X axis, so go ahead and press S and then X to scale the cube down on the X axis all the way to a point around here. And then of course we need to move this cube to the front, so go ahead and press G and then X to move this part of the cube to the front to a point around here. Then from right here we need to extend this part a little bit more to the left side and this part all the way to the right side, and we can do this by moving this face to the left and this face right here to the right. So go ahead and press 3 again to go into the face selection mode and click on this face right here to only select this face, and press G and Y so that you're able to move this face only on the Y axis, and go ahead and move it to a point around here. And then go ahead and select this face right here and press G and Y to move the face all the way to a point around here. So now we need to copy and paste this thing down to a point around here, and you of course again do this by pressing Shift and D, but before you can go ahead and press Shift and D, you need to select all of the faces from this part right here, because if you would go ahead and press A to select all, you can see that also these parts of the fence got selected, and this is not what we want. So I will go ahead and press Alt and A again to deselect all, and now to only select this part right here. As we're in the face selection mode, you can go ahead and hover with your mouse over a face from the object that you want to select, and then just go ahead and press L to select all of the linked faces. And like this you can see that all of the faces that we need got selected. So now you can go ahead and press Shift and D again to duplicate this part, press right click to leave it first at the same place where the first part was, and now as only the second part is selected, you can go ahead and press G and then Z to move this down, and go ahead and move this down all the way to a point around here, and press left click to apply the move. Then you can go ahead and press Alt and A to deselect all, and you can go ahead and take a look on what you have created. Alright, then let's go ahead and bring back the rest of the scene. So go ahead and press numpad / again to defocus from the fence, and to organize the workspace, you can in the outline and top right go ahead and rename the cube by pressing F2 to fence. And now let's go ahead and place the fence to where we want it to have. So first of all, go ahead and press A to select all of the fence, and press G and Z to move the fence up all the way until it first starts to float over the grass, and then go ahead and move this back down until the bottom faces start to disappear inside of the grass like this. And I guess this fence part is a little bit too big, so let's go ahead and press S to scale this fence part down all the way to a point around here, and then of course we again need to move this down as it's again floating in the air. So go ahead and press G and Z to move it down all the way until the bottom faces start to disappear inside of the grass. Let's go ahead and press numpad 7 to go into the top view, and if you now would go ahead and press G to move the fence, as you're in the top view you're only able to move the fence on the Y and X axis, so you do not have to worry about moving it on the Z axis, so this fence will not start to float, so you can just go ahead and freely move it to a point around here. And then let's go ahead and place some more fence parts around the island right here. So press Shift and D to duplicate the fence part, and at this point right here you can just go ahead and move this fence part to a point around here, and press R to rotate it all the way to a point around here. And again, as you're in the top view, you do not have to worry about rotating it on the X or Y axis, as you're only able to rotate it on the Z axis watching from the top view. And then go ahead and press G and move this fence part a little bit closer to the first one, to right here. And let's go ahead and repeat this step. So go ahead and press Shift and D again, place it to a point around here, press R to rotate it all the way to a point around here, and press G to move it to right here. And let's go ahead and do this one more time. So press Shift and D again, place it to right here, press R to rotate the fence part, and press G to move it again to a point around here. And if you would now go ahead and rotate your view, and press Alt and A to deselect all, and press Tab to leave the edit mode and to go into the object mode, and press Alt and A again to deselect all from the object mode, you can see what you have created. Alright, and then let's go ahead and add in our last object to the scene, which will be a basic bench to right here. So as the bench will have a quad-based shape, let's go ahead and again add in a new cube to the scene. So go ahead and press Shift and A to open up the Add menu, head over to Mesh, and add in a new cube to the scene. And as we again do not need all of the other parts in the scene for right now, let's go ahead and press numpad / again to only focus on the cube for right now. Press Tab to go into the edit mode of the cube, and press S to scale the cube down a little bit to a point around here, and then go ahead and press S and X to scale the cube down on the X axis all the way to a point around here. And let's go ahead and model this bench using a mirror modifier. So first of all, go ahead and press G and then X to move the leg of the bench to the right side to a point around here. And now you can go ahead and add in a mirror modifier to the scene. From the last episode, you already know that you can go ahead and access the modifiers tab by clicking on the blue wrench right here. And then you can go ahead and click on Add Modifier, head over to Generate, and in this case we need to add in a mirror modifier. So let's go ahead and click on Mirror, and you can already see how this part of the bench gets mirrored to the other side. In this case you only have to make sure that the axis is set to X, as if for example it would be set to Y, you can see that nothing changes, so be sure that the axis is only set to X. Then also add the mirror modifier at the right side right here. Be sure that you go ahead and enable clipping, as we will go ahead and need it in the next step, which I will show you in just a second. But before we go ahead and do this, let's go ahead and rename this part to bench 1, and let's head back into the materials menu by clicking on the red sphere right here and add in a new material and rename this material to bench 1. And in this case we need to change the color to a stone color, so just go ahead and leave this point at the right spot right here and just go ahead and move down the brightness to make this a little bit gray to a point around here. Now let's go ahead and add in the sitting area. Now you could go ahead and just add in a new cube and scale it down to the size to which you need it, but as this object already has the mirror modifier, we will just go ahead and take the upper face right here and duplicate it, and then we will go ahead and separate it into a new object so that the new object already has the mirror modifier. So make sure that you're in the face selection mode, or just double check by pressing 3 to go into the face selection mode. And before you will go ahead and press 3, just click somewhere into the scene so that the color menu at the right side will be closed, and then you can go ahead and press 3 to be sure that you're in the face selection mode, and go ahead and select the upper face right here and press Shift and D to duplicate the face, and then press right click to leave the face at the same place. Press P to open up the separate menu and go ahead and click on selection. And like this you have created a new object with the duplicated face. Go ahead and press tab to go back into the object mode, and in the outliner at the top right, go ahead and select bench 1.001 and rename this one to bench 2. And of course the sitting area should not be out of stone, so go ahead and delete the bench 1 material by clicking on the X right here. And as we already have created some wood materials, we do not have to add in a new material. We can also go ahead and click on this arrow right here to browse our already existing materials. And let's go ahead and add in the same material that we have used on the fence. So go ahead and click on fence. And now the only part that is left to do is to create the sitting area. To start creating the sitting area, first of all, let's go ahead and go into the edit mode. So press tab to go into the edit mode of this face right here, and press A to select all. Then let's go ahead and press S and Y to scale up this face on the Y axis to a point around here. And then let's go ahead and press 2 to go into the edge selecting mode. And first of all, let's go ahead and select this edge right here and press G and then X to move the edge to a point around here. And now you can go ahead and select the left edge right here and press G and then X to move this edge, and go ahead and move this edge all the way to the left side until it starts to clip with the other edge right here. And this is the step for which you have enabled clipping, as if you would not have enabled clipping, you could just go ahead and move this edge all the way to the left side, and like this you would go ahead and create overlapping geometry. So when you are at the middle right here, you can go ahead and press left click to apply the move. And now you can go ahead and press 3 to go into the face selection mode. Select this face right here, and as we do not have any thickness to this face right here, you can also see the upper face from the leg bench clipping through. So let's go ahead and extrude this face up, and you can go ahead and do this by pressing E, and because of this blue line right here, this face gets only extruded on its normal, and the normal in this case right here is the Z axis, and we want to extrude this face on the Z axis, so we can go ahead and just directly move it up to a point around here and press left click to apply the extrusion. And go ahead and press tab to leave the edit mode, press Alt and A to deselect all, and go ahead and take a look on the bench that you have created. Now let's go ahead and place the bench to the right place in the scene. So go ahead and press numpad / again to defocus from the bench, and in the outliner at the top right with shift select bench 1 and bench 2, then press tab to go into the edit mode of both objects, press A to select all, and press G and Z to move the bench up to a point around here. Now again, this bench is a little bit too big, but if you would go ahead and press S now to scale this down, you can see that the shape of the bench changes. And you can see this also when you go ahead and scale this up. This is because we have not enabled the mirror modifier yet. So press right click to cancel the scale and press tab to go back into the object mode, because you can only apply modifiers in the object mode. So go ahead and select bench 1, click on the blue wrench to go into the modifiers menu, and go ahead and let the mirror modifier click on this arrow right here and click on apply, and repeat the same step at bench 2. So click on bench 2, and we're already in the modifiers tab, and at the mirror modifier right here, go ahead and click on this arrow right here and click on apply. If you now with shift select bench 1 and bench 2, you can go ahead and press tab to go into the edit mode, press A again to be sure that everything is selected, and now we can go ahead and press S to scale the bench down, and now the bench gets scaled down properly. So go ahead and scale this down to a point around here, press G and Z to move the bench down, and go ahead and move this down all the way until the bottom faces start to disappear inside of the grass, and go ahead and press G and Y to move this back to a point around here. And we of course do not want to have the bench inside of the tree, so go ahead and press G and X to move the bench to the right side, to right here. Then go ahead and press Tab to leave the edit mode, and press Alt and A to deselect all, and go ahead and take a look on what you have created. Alright my kings and queens, from this point right here you can go ahead and add in even more details to the scene, like some grass or some stones, which you see right here, and I will go ahead and leave this up to you to create these objects right here, or even some objects that I'm missing in the scene, so you can go ahead and start practicing right now. If you want to learn even more about modeling in Blender, you can go ahead and check out my full step-by-step beginner course, where we have created this low polyphase house scene from the complete beginning to the final render. You have probably learned a lot of new stuff in this 2-part series, so you will go ahead and definitely learn even more in this mega series. And of course do not forget to join my Discord server, where you can go ahead and ask any question that you should have, and you will get an answer in no time. So now my kings and queens, have fun modeling, and we will see us in the next video.